Thursday, November 9th. My name is Josh Grossman. With me, as always, Jeff Hahn, Landon Rush, and this is Fantasy Inception. How are you doing?
Good to be back.
Feeling
Yeah,
good.
feeling great.
Little hiatus.
Sick and just took some Nyquil, so we are going to see if I fall asleep before the show ends. Okay, so before we get into looking at the last few weeks and how Landon's in first and Bryden's team is terrible, we're going to play a little game. So what we're going to do is we're going to play Two Truths and a Lie, Clown Town edition. Everything will be about this year in Clown Town.
Oh,
We're gonna have 3 rounds. I'm gonna give you 3 statements. You guys individually tell me which one you think is the lie. If one of you gets all 3 lies correct, then both of you win. So you're not competing against each other, you're competing against me. Does that make sense? Some
Yes.
of these statements are worded in, I don't know, a confusing way, not intentionally. So let me know if you need any clarity. All right, ready for round 1?
yeah.
I'm going to read the 3 statements, but stop me if you need me to clarify something. Statement number 1. If Chris and Landon switch schedules, Chris would be tied with Bryden for first place at 7-2. Statement number 2. Landon has more weeks where his opponent scored less than 100 than Jeff, Bino, BJV, and Chris combined. And statement number 3. Walter has never won a week in which he was projected to win that week.
Wow.
Want me to read those 3? Want me to read those 3? You guys work together. Do you want me to read those 3 again, or?
No, I mean, I kind of get it. I think the last one's a truth.
Okay, the Walter one.
And I guess because the second one was just so in depth that I'll say that was also a truth as well. And the first one being a lie with Roland's switching schedules with Landon.
Yeah, I agree with the ultimate decision. I don't know,
You guys
reasoning
individually choose differently. It's up to you guys.
No, I agree with Jeff.
You guys got correct. That
Nice.
was the lie. Walter's was actually insane because
That's crazy.
not only was he projected to lose all 4 games that he won, but he was projected to win 4 out of the 5 losses that he had. So he almost got every single one wrong.
He is gonna flip out when he watches this episode.
All right. Number 2. Moreau does not have the most points from tight ends despite having Kelsey. Moreau has the most weeks where his matchup is decided by less than 6 points. And over the first 9 weeks, obviously, Jeff has the largest discrepancy between his score and his opponent's score, whether he wins or loses. Do you want me to repeat those 3?
No, I mean, I think
Tight end.
the tight end that's true.
Despite having Kelsey.
Yeah. And then probably
What was the second one? I'm sorry, with the points. What was
Moreau has the most weeks where his matchup is decided by less than 6 points than any other manager.
he's up there. I mean, his team is his team's third, I think, right? So yeah, I'll say that's true. I guess I'm false. I'm false. I didn't think so. I mean, I would probably say that was probably true.
I think the last one is a lie.
Yeah, with me, the most discrepancy of points.
Yeah.
Jeff, is that the one you're choosing?
But there were some down weeks. There were some down weeks in there for sure.
That one is accurate. The lie was Moreau does have the most points from tight ends, just relying on Kelsey.
Wow.
So you guys did not win. We'll do the third round anyways. Let's see which of you can.
With?
Wow.
All right. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, okay. All right. Go ahead.
This one has. This is the one that a couple of these are worded. I don't know, not articulately. First, Landon. Fewest
rounds were pretty good.
Yeah, Landon has the fewest players remaining from the team that he drafted.
That's probably true.
2, excluding the next 2 are excluding defense. Excluding points from defense, Binder has the most points in his actual starting lineup from waiver wire / free agent pickups.
I'd say that's
number 3. Looking just at pickups where the manager spent money on the position, and again, ignoring defenses, only because it was too much work to look at defenses. Bino has received the least amount of points per dollar spent.
I actually think that's true. And I'll tell you why, because he got Jerome Ford, which he spent basically his entire budget on, and he was basically out, 2 games already since he's gotten him? So I'll say that's true.
Okay.
I think
I'd actually maybe I do have a decent amount of players from my team that I drafted.
You would know that better than I. I mean, you're notorious for dropping your guys. I know I got a good one. So
I definitely do that.
What was the second one?
Excluding points from defense, Binder has the most points in his actual starting roster from waiver.
It's kind of silly. He picked up C.J. Stroud, right? And he's just ripping it week in and week out. And so that's why I think, yeah, maybe he does, because he's probably in there every single week. So I'm kind of thinking, yeah, he probably does.
Yeah, I think the lie is the first one.
Yeah, Landon.
Landon, you only have 6 players left from your original. We have 13 rounds. This one was a little cheap because Binder had the second most points. Ryden actually has the most points with 280 points from pickups.
Puka,
Jefferson, Hill.
Well, Hill wasn't.
All right, next week we will do, or in the future we'll do another one, but it'll be looking at a few seasons. Let's look at. Let's do a 3. I can't talk. The Nyquil's kicking in.
Today, Junior.
A 3-week review. We'll start Landon with you. You're in first place at 8-1. You took over after Bryden had won 7 in a row, and then he lost 2. You've gone 3-0 over the last 3 weeks, with a week 8 win over BJV by less than 2 points and a week 9 win over my team by less than 4 points.
Take that, asshole.
What? Landon, how are you feeling about your team? Just gloat.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good. I like GF, I think, was alluding to just now that I dropped some players. I'm really upset that I dropped Rashad White. So
savior on my team right now.
That really pains me. But overall, I'm feeling pretty good. Got not Bryce Young. I'm thinking of Bryce Young because he's playing. Got Kyler Murray, thankfully, coming back this week. So looking forward to that. I'm feeling pretty good right now. If I can win this week with Hurts, AJ Brown, and Waddle on buys, I mean that this is a huge week for me if I can win.
Yeah. Jeff, Landon mentioned Kyler is coming back this week. Yeah. What do you expect from him in this first game and the rest of the season?
Yeah, so I guess the good news is it sounds like he's been engaged with the team, during his rehab, which is promising. He hasn't been playing Call of Duty maybe as much or whatever. So I guess that's good that he's learning the new coaching staff, and there's obviously probably a bit of a learning curve there for him. So that's promising. I guess, I don't really understand what the Cardinals are trying to do in bringing him back. They basically have Caleb Williams at their fingertips. So yep. Kyler certainly gives them a better chance of winning games if he comes back and plays. So I would say Kyler is a fringe quarterback 1, maybe like 13 or 14 this week. just because you kind of want to see it. You remember Deshaun Watson coming back last year, and you're like, oh, he should be pretty good, right? Big name, and he was terrible. So, Connor is designated to return this week too, which no DeMarcado, he's not practicing. So I think that could help Kyler just kind of relieve some of the pressure of trying to do it all himself, which I think is needed. So I can't. Again, I'm saying back in QB1. I think it's a good pickup for Landon, but I wouldn't expect maybe like top 6 or something like that out of him.
What do you think? What do you think, Grossman?
I think this first week is going to be rusty, but then I think he's going to, by the end of the season, he'll look good again. And the real question is to what Jeff was alluding to, he's a great fantasy QB. Is he a good real life QB where he actually wins the important games? We've seen someone like Burrow beat Casey and Buffalo over and over again. Is that something that Kyler can do, or do they need to turn to a new QB for the future? Second place, Bryden is at 7-2. He lost 2 in a row before pulling off a victory last week against Monroe by less than 2 points. Bryden desperately needs Jefferson back. Jefferson just started practicing this week. I don't believe he'll be playing this week, but with Cousins done for the year, what do you expect from Jefferson when he does come back? I'm sorry, where would you rank him? Let's start there. Where would you rank him in the receivers rest of the season?
I would probably rank him as a low-end QB1 at this point.
Jefferson.
Yeah,
he's a wide receiver.
What?
What did I say? I said a receiver, didn't I?
QB.
Well, I was looking at. I'm I'm so tired. Yeah, Justin Jefferson is a receiver, so yes, I would rank him as a low-end QB1 or get it again.
Did you take
I may have a low-end wide receiver 1. It's just going from
who would you rather have in front of him? Like Hill,
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
Chase.
If healthy.
Yeah, I would say Chase. Stephon Diggs.
CD Lamb. Surging.
CD Lamb. Yeah, he is.
That's probably about right there, right?
If Stafford comes back, I would say Cooper Kupp in front of him.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Puka's going to eat in that. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't have the list in front of me. So, yeah, maybe mid to low end wide receiver 1, but it's going to be a downgrade going from Cousins to Dobbs. So, Dobbs didn't really support much when he was in Arizona as far as wide receivers go. So, Jefferson's obviously an elite talent, but it's going to be a downgrade from what he had with Cousins.
St. Brown, would you rather maybe have him? Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff, Bryden has been getting a lot of points from Mostert, especially when Achane was out. Achane should be coming back in the next few weeks. I don't believe they've opened up practice. I don't remember.
I don't think so.
What do you think happens with Mostert when Achane does come back and starts?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a timeshare. I think we can expect that. And but I think we've seen with Achane that, he can't get too many touches. So he's got to kind of be limited maybe in his touch count somewhere around the 10 to 12 mark, I would imagine. So let's just call that a 60-40 split maybe that benefits Mostert. His stature is just so small that he's obviously a weapon out there, but you got to keep him healthy. And so, yeah, it's going to cut into Mostert's workload, but he'll still remain the primary back, and more importantly, he'll remain the goal line and the goal line and third down. Well, I guess not third down back, but the goal line carry, short yardage back.
Yep. All right. Looking at third place, Moreau's Big Tasty is 6-2. We mentioned he had a sort of a heartbreaking loss to Bryden in week 9, but before that he won 2 in a row, including his own close win by 6 points over Walter in week 7, a week in which Mac Jones was his only QB. Landon Burrow is second last in points scored, but Dak has been playing great, and he gets Field and HN back in the next week or two. What are Moreau's odds for staying in those top four and making the playoffs?
Getting those two guys back, Fields is going to be, for fantasy at least, he's a fantastic quarterback. And we just talked about Achane a little bit, but was a superstar. So getting those two guys back is going to help him tremendously. I think Moreau has a really good team also. So, I mean, he's, like you mentioned, not the greatest in points, but I think he's got a good team. I would put his odds at staying in the playoffs at 69%.
Nice.
Jeff, Moreau has gotten two big games from Gibbs with Montgomery injured. Montgomery's coming back this week. How do you see that impacting Gibbs' work well?
Yeah, so I mean, I see a significant impact, and I see Montgomery going back to being the guy. Most importantly, again, same kind of situation as Mostert. He's going to be the short yardage goal line back, and we saw kind of the value of the goal line back, especially in the Detroit offense when you look at Jamal Williams last year, right? And so Campbell has kind of come out and said that they were going to continue to use Gibbs, but there's no way he's going to continue to get 20-plus touches. So
I think it goes right back to the split that was happening before, even though it kind of led to Montgomery getting injured.
I do. I certainly see that. I see that being the way that he's a veteran, right? And I think Campbell values veteranship and being able to protect the ball, run the ball, kill the clock, protect the lead, that sort of stuff. So yeah, I absolutely believe that it'll go right back to the way it was.
Landon, do you disagree, or did you just have like an itchy nose?
Yeah, I just had an itchy nose. Yeah, I do disagree a little bit. I think Gibbs has proven himself over the past few weeks to be pretty capable. So I think it will go. I think it will be a little bit more even. I still think Montgomery's going to get majority of it, but it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be what it was before.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think Gibbs probably gets a handful more touches. So what's that put him at? 10 a game?
No, I'd say he's going to be at like 15.
Yeah, he was getting probably 12 touches. He was getting HN number of touches. It's just he wasn't scoring touchdowns or 70-yard runs. Fourth place is Bino's empty points at 4 and 5. This starts the chain of teams at 4 and 5. Teams 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all 4 and 5. So it's going to be really interesting into the second half of the fantasy season. Bino lost in week 9, only scoring 96 points, but he won the 2 prior to that with much stronger outputs. Landon, Purdy was a good QB2 for Bino for much of the season, but he has kind of stunk for the last 3 weeks, having only 3 passing TDs and 5 interceptions over that time. Does Purdy's outlook change coming off the bye and with a healthy Debo?
I believe that the answer here is yes. Getting Debo back is going to help Purdy and the team tremendously. The 49ers this year with a healthy Debo were 5-0, and they were averaging 33 points a game. Without Debo, or when he left and got hurt that one game, they are 0-3 without him and averaging only 17 points per game. So Debo opens up that offense. Purdy will improve. They got Chase Young on defense. I picked up their defense. I'm really looking forward to that. And I think they get back on the right track starting this week.
Jeff, Devontae Adams continues to put up bad fantasy outputs, but most, if not all, of that can be put at the feet of his QB and his coaches. Does he come back to being a wide receiver 1 this season?
I don't think so. Not with the Raiders. I don't think with Aiden O'Connell at quarterback, and certainly not this week against the New York Jets. It's a brutal matchup, and I'll be talking about him a little bit later. So, no, I don't.
Teaser.
I don't think we're going to see much from Devontae Adams throughout the remainder of this year.
All right. 5th place, Burrow is back. This is Finder's team, also at 4 and 5. He's under 500, but he's averaging 140 plus points over his last 3 weeks, which is tops in the league during that stretch. Landon, Stroud is redonkulous. He's obviously not going to 44 points every week like he did last week, but do you see him being a QB1, a QB2 rest of the season? What can we expect?
I'm going to go right in the middle. I think a low-end QB1, high-end QB2. He's put up 4 games this season over 20 points, but he also has 4 games below 15 points, and he does not run the ball really at all, and that's the cheat code in fantasy as far as being a real high-end quarterback. So he's less than 10 yards a game rushing. So, yeah, I think he's going to be a low-end QB1 for the rest of the season.
Okay. Jeff, in week 8, you beat Fender 136.4 to 134.6.
Got that first
to you. I just wanted to, give you that credit there.
Thank you.
And you've won 2 in a row. Looking at Fender's team, what do you put his odds at making the playoffs?
0%.
Whoa, 0.
That's because I'm going to take the 4th spot. I'm coming all the way from the back end. Gonna go from the outhouse to the penthouse, right? So I'm gonna take that last spot. No chance of Fender getting in, right? I mean, essentially, we look at this the way our league is shaking out this year. I mean, 2 teams seem to be pretty locked up. So maybe we have 8 teams then fighting for those last 2 remaining spots. He does have a pretty good team though, and Burrow looks great, and he's had some nice upside in his wide receiver room with Allen, St. Brown, and Devonta Smith. So looking at his schedule, he's actually in control of his own destiny. I did kind of look ahead here. He plays the top 3 teams in the next 4 weeks, and he also plays you, Grossman, in those next 4 weeks. So, I mean, he can control if he's going to be in or not with those next 4 weeks. Tough schedule, so I guess I'll say 18%. That's all 4 and 5 teams right now have a basically an 18% team, and I'll give both Vranek and myself a 1% chance, and that equals 100.
All right, I like it. 6th place is my team. Bryden's my bitch at 4 and 5. While I beat Bryden in week 8 with just 114 points, that same point output wasn't enough to win against Landon in week 9. Landon, Mahomes has been a major disappointment, scoring less than 20 points in 6 of his 9 games. Does KC need to go out this offseason and get a legit wide receiver 1?
I would say so. I'm not a mathematician, and I don't understand really how the whole salary cap thing works and cap space and stuff like that. But when you look at who a free agent wide receiver, the free agent wide receivers available, I mean, if they got T. Higgins, that would be really something. So that would boost him up tremendously. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but yeah, adding a top-end, high-end wide receiver would really only help Mahomes. I think Tyreek Hill not being there anymore is maybe catching up to him a little bit. Last year he did really well, but this year it seems to kind of be leveling out a bit.
Jeff, before I get to the written question, which Marquise Brown, I believe, is the other kind of main receiver. Which would you rather have, Brown or Higgins on the Chiefs? Kind of 2 different play styles.
Yeah, I think Higgins would be great. I mean, but I think Marquise Brown really kind of fits what the Chiefs are trying to do offensively. Yeah. And so that would be a nice little fit for him, I think. But Higgins would be amazing.
Cool. All right, my actual question to you. Cooper Kupp came back from his injury with back-to-back strong performances, but he's failed to score double digits since then. If Stafford does come back healthy from his bye, do you expect Kupp to return to 2021 form?
That's going to be tough, to 2021 form, but I do expect him to be better. I mean, I think we're going to see a healthy dose of targets, a healthy dose of receptions. Certainly kind of hoping he gets in the end zone. I'm sure he will, right? I mean, he's been held off at this point all year, so I don't think he has any touchdowns, right? So, I mean, I do see positive regression.
Good. Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. 7th place, Walters, Danza All-Stars, also at 4 and 5. He's lost 3 in a row, so things are not trending the right way for Walter. Landing. Do you see things, the Nyquil's hitting in and the words are getting harder? Do you see things turning around for Walter after losing 3 in a row here?
Real quick before I answer this question, did you get any trade offers for Cup after you sent that message out?
Yeah, I got 4 people texting me about it.
Oh, all right.
Nice.
The problem is none of them were good enough QBs for this week for me to make it happen. Or like the matchups were really bad.
I thought about trading you Lawrence.
All
right. I was just
No,
interested.
You're too greedy. You're
too
greedy.
Actually work. I did get people texting me about him, so that was good.
Yeah, I was waiting for the alert that a trade went through. I didn't get that.
Yeah, there's been no trade outside of yours and Fender's. It's kind of sad.
It is. Yeah, so back to Walter's team. Yeah, I mean he's in that, what is he, 4-5, just like everybody else. So
Yep.
There's a chance, and the big player, or the players on his team that need to step up for him to make a run would be Chris Olave and Tony Pollard. If they can turn things around and kind of step up to where they were projected to be at this year, and then Javonte keeps on getting healthier and healthier throughout the year, I think there's a chance. I mean, he's got Herbert and Tua as his quarterback, so there's for sure a chance that he could turn it around.
Love Javonte this year.
Next year, he'll only be better. Jeff, is Jordan Love the starting QB in Green Bay next year?
Probably. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not the GM or involved in any sort of decision making for the Green Bay Packers, so
you should
I have no idea.
You should
be. Yeah,
be.
right? I mean, I personally don't think he's the guy, but it's hard to find a viable starting QB in the NFL, so he's got experience. He's finally got kind of a year under the system, I guess, of him, holding the reins. So, yeah, I think he'll probably be back for another season.
Okay. Chris's crispy team, 4-5 in 8th place. Chris has won 2 of his last 3 games, keeping him in the playoff hunt. Landon, as good as Lamar has been, he has 4 of 9 games where he scored less than 12 points. Baltimore is scoring a lot of points. So is Lamar due for some TD regression?
I sure hope so. I have him in my other league. So yeah, it's been tough. The 2 of the last 3 games that they've been in have been just absolute blowouts where they necessarily didn't really need him. Gus Edwards has scored 6 touchdowns in the last 3 games. So 6 in the last 3 games.
5 in the last 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. So I think, well, as Geoff just mentioned with Cooper Kupp, I think there is some positive regression due to happen to Lamar Jackson.
Call that progression.
No,
I don't think so.
Is still the right word.
Yeah.
Jeff, does Addison continue balling out with Jefferson coming back and Dobbs at QB?
Okay, so I don't think he continues to ball out quite as much, but I do think he continues to hold value. And, his point ceiling might be lowered a little bit, is all I'm trying to say. So Jefferson should probably draw a double team, if not at least safety help over the top, you'd think. Dobbs will probably look at him first in the read, check off of him kind of immediately, I would imagine, and then be forced to go to other options, whether that be Hawkinson or Addison. I do think that maybe a few slant routes or getting Addison the ball quickly, getting it out of Dobbs' hands quickly will be beneficial. And I think, where Jefferson can stretch the field, Addison can kind of be that short to intermediate target that will continue to hold value for somebody like Dobbs.
Who would you guys rather have rest of the season, Addison or Marquise Brown?
Addison.
I'd go Marquise Brown. Hollywood.
Mike Evans or Addison?
Mike Evans.
Okay. All right, BJB in 9th place. We're done with 4 and 5s. BJB is 2 and 7. He went 0 and 3 over the last 3 weeks.
Falling apart.
Some bad luck in week 8 since he had the second most points in that week. Landon, what do you expect from Will Levis moving forward?
Yeah, he just went up against the powerhouse that week. That was a rough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Will Levis, he's been really good the first 2 games. He's got 500 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. He has 10 completions of 20-plus yards, which is second in the league over those 2 games. So he seems to be pretty good. I would put him for the rest of the season really kind of, I would say, a high-end QB2. Maybe he can push into a low-end QB1, but I think that would be probably the ceiling there.
He can spin it, man. He doesn't even like throw it with his arm. He just flicks it out there, and it's just so strong.
The amount of time he takes with that ball though is way too long. But yeah, he's got an arm. Jeff, do you see Bijan getting used like a workhorse at all this year? And if not, does Arthur Smith get fired?
So yeah, here's what I see happening is I think this division is just going to continue to kind of throw up all over itself, and probably late in the year when Arthur Smith needs to secure wins to make the playoffs, and he's in kind of like, again, a bad division, I think he finds himself maybe he's on the verge of getting fired or something like that. He's on the hot seat. He probably starts playing Bijan a little bit more, right? But until then, it's probably not going to happen until late in the season. There's a really entertaining skit that I saw out there of, I don't know, someone doing like a parody of the Joker from The Dark Knight. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it was kind of targeting Matthew Berry, who's, I guess, a big Bijan believer and stuff like that. And the Joker is essentially Arthur Smith. Check it out if you haven't. It's really good. But yeah, that's how I see it playing out. I don't see any monster games coming from him, but it's just going to kind of continue to be frustrating for fantasy owners.
How do you explain it, Grossman? Why are they not using Bijan? Like he was what, the 8 pick or 9 pick overall or something like that? Just
Arthur Smith just wants to be the smartest man in the room. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. He's not.
I don't know. 10th place, touchdown my pants, 2-7, winner of 2 in a row. Landon Taysom Hill has crushed it in the last 3 weeks. It might be 4 weeks at this point. Does he continue to score every which way, or do defenses adapt and keep him down?
Really hurts that Kamara value, doesn't it? That Kamara value a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to mention. Yeah, I mean, since I have Carr, I mean, I'm not going to be using Carr much anymore anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's hurting Kamara for sure. When I watched, the red zone and they're right at like, the 3-yard line and like, oh fuck, here comes Taysom Hill, and then there's no Kamara coming. So, yeah, I mean, it's working. So I think it has been the last 4 weeks that he's been kind of out of control. So I think it's going to continue. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. I would love it to, but I don't think it's going to.
Yeah. Jeff, you are only 2 games back of 4th place. If you win this week, do you start really thinking about making a push for the playoffs?
I mean, what other option is there? I'm not selling off my team. It's a redraft league, right? So, yeah, I'm going to still continue to try to push. But how about that, huh? Never a doubt. But I do like
going through motions,
Yeah, I know. No, it feels good. It was
that would be really something.
I do like my team. I really do. I made some nice additions at the RB off the waiver wire. Obviously, a nice tight end pickup. And I mean, I didn't necessarily need it, but I saw value there. So, and finally, if I could just get maybe a little bit of production out of my QBs, I don't know who that is. Certainly, Lawrence, I guess, has to be the guy. He's got to step up for me. But, yeah, I mean, if I win this week, look out, boys. That would be a hell of a season.
All right, that does it for looking back. Jeff, do you want to do your Hahndо's Huddle?
Sure, I'll take it from here. So the Dayquil is just starting to kick in a little bit. So try to stay with me, boys. All right. Okay. So guys, I like this week. All right. Deontay Johnson, he's on the rise. He's the number one in Pittsburgh. We've seen George Pickens coming out a little bit of a diva this past few weeks. So, and we knew that was kind of his situation when he got drafted. But Deontay Johnson, he's the man. He's going to get a nice matchup against Green Bay. And Jair Alexander hasn't shadow covered anything. And if they do, I guess, like that really exposes Carrington Valentine on the other side. He's allowed 17.3 yards per catch. So I don't see, I guess what I'm saying is I see kind of both guys lining up against Deontay, and he's going to continue to feast. CD Lamb, I think he has just another monster game this week. I'm really enjoying this. He's going to be facing a Cordero Flott, I guess. So advantage CD Lamb. Don't even know, but this guy's balled out in the last 2 weeks. I think it just continues. Even against the Dory Jackson on the other side, he's allowing 14 yards per catch. Or Deontay Banks, he's allowed 2 touchdowns in his coverage. Still CD Lamb has the advantage. I love DeAndre Hopkins going against Carlton Davis. So, I mean, Carlton Davis was a guy in the past that we talk about that was shutdown cornerback. And now we look at Tampa Bay, and we saw what happened last week with C.J. Stroud just going bananas for over 400 with them. This clearly their defense, Tampa's defense, has taken a hit. He's allowing 14.5 yards per catch, 4 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks.
Oof.
Three of them were last week, but still. And then 14 catches in the last 2 games. So I just expect Hopkins to continue to be the number one there in Tennessee. I like DK Metcalf. I like Lockett this week as well. I prefer Lockett probably going against Emmanuel Forbes, who's letting up 19 yards per catch and 3 TDs in his coverage. Kendall Fuller on the other side, though, has allowed 3 touchdowns as well. Benjamin St. Juste out of the slot. He allows 12.5 yards per catch, so might even see some JSN this week, maybe. Who knows? But I like all those guys this week. I guess I like Dino a lot too. And finally, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Again, he's just going to continue to do what Amon does, but he's going against Jazir Taylor, who is in a good matchup in the slot, so he's allowing about 12 yards per catch. I just think St. Brown continues to do what he does. Guys, I don't like this week, okay? So Christian Watson will be the first one. Pittsburgh is going up against – he's going to probably most likely face the rookie Joey Porter. He covered Hopkins last week 75% of the time, and he didn't necessarily shut him down, but he only allowed 1 catch for 17 yards in his coverage. So I don't necessarily know if he shadows him the entire game, but he should see a fair amount of them. So plus Jordan Love back there. Joey Porter's now in a starting role with the Steelers, where it's probably where he should have been all year. So it looks like a good rookie pickup for them out of this year's draft class. Adams and Jacoby Myers, I don't care which way you go, but that New York Jets defense is nasty. We saw what they were able to basically keep New York in the game last week, despite having no offense against the Chargers. So I expect much of the same thing. Plus Aiden O'Connell at QB. Sauce is only letting up 8.1 yards per catch. DJ Reed on the other side, 8.7 yards per catch. So no matter which way you look at it, it's not going to be a favorable matchup. Jordan Addison, if JJ comes back, which I don't think he necessarily will, he could see a lot of Marshawn Lattimore this week. So I don't like that at all. I mean, who else is going to catch the ball for him? Brandon Powell, I guess, is the next man up because KJ Osborne is sitting out with concussion protocol. So I guess just, going down the list, you have to imagine Lattimore is going to face their top guy, and that would be Addison. So that's where I'm kind of not liking his matchup. Whoever faces Darius Williams, who has had 3 interceptions, so that's going in the San Francisco game here. Whoever faces Darius Williams, I don't like, whether it's Ayuk or Debo. I don't know. I can't determine which one it's going to be. I guess I'll say it's going to be Ayuk. So I kind of like Debo maybe, but might be a bit of an avoid. But, I mean, you're still going to roll him out there, and your season league is too good. And then finally, McLaurin and Dotson going against that Seattle defense. They've been playing some really good football as of late. Devin Witherspoon and Malik Woolen have both allowed less than 10 yards per catch. So I don't like the Commanders this week.
All right.
That's all I got.
Nice
Thank you
work.
so much.
Thanks.
As always.
Well, the cast of Tough Enough is over here giving themselves a beer bath.
All right. We'll start with Landon's number 1 team going against Moreau. The 3 seed Moreau already has 3 players playing. Not great by any of them necessarily.
Love it.
Would you guys play Moss over Boyd if Chase plays, or are you going to go with Boyd regardless?
I like Boyd a lot.
Yeah, I'm going with Boyd. It was really because Higgins isn't supposed to play, so yeah, I'm going with Boyd.
Houston is a good matchup for receivers, though.
They are, but I mean, I'm still rolling with Boyd. Jacoby Myers against the Jets, no go, and Zach Moss has been. I'm not going to drop him quite yet, but I'm almost there. I don't think he's playable anymore at this point, so I'm rolling with Boyd.
Obviously, it's harder to say what we would have done, but would you guys, do you think, started Mac Jones over Bryce before this game that's going on right now, or would you have taken the chance with Bryce?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I think I would probably have gone Mac Jones.
Yeah,
they're pretty pretty gross options. So yeah.
All right, who wins this one?
Child, please.
Yeah, it's a good start thus far, so I think I might pull this one out.
I agree. Next one. Let me just refresh. We have another good matchup. Brighton's second place team going against Bino's fourth place team. Brighton's got Thielen, not doing well thus far, but the game's not over. But I don't think there's literally never any options for Brighton because his whole team is out.
Yeah.
At Bino's team.
And Keaton Mitchell had an injury pop up today, so that's not good.
Did he? I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
He's also good against Cleveland. Yeah. Good output from him either way. Walker's back at practice. He was out for a little bit. Would you guys play him over Cook?
Yeah. If he's active, yes.
If Walker's playing, I would, yes.
Okay. Who wins this one?
But man, Denver's so bad against the run.
Yeah, James Cook has not been. He's just, I don't know. He's not great.
Not been cooking.
No. I'm going to go with Bino with this one. I would like Bino to win, so I can a little more distance between me and Bryden would be nice. So I'm going Bino.
Yeah, I think got to go Bino as well.
Yep. I agree with you guys. All right. Third matchup. Fender's fifth place Burrow is back against Chris's eighth place Crispy Taco.
50-50 split.
Yeah, for Chris's team, would you go? Amari is going against a really tough Baltimore team. Would you guys put anybody from Chris's bench in there? Marquise Brown, Connor, Collins, Nico, Najee.
Nico doesn't seem like he's going to be playing, from what I've heard.
I mean, yeah, Chris has some really bad matchups this week. If you look at it, like Mark Andrews against Cleveland. I mean, the Cleveland defense on tight ends has only allowed, 3 fantasy points per game in the last 4 weeks to tight end. I mean, granted, Andrews did have his way with him when he played him last time. And then Barkley, that's just, and the Giants are so bad. I don't know. I mean, he could get 30 touches, but what's he going to do with them?
Exactly.
I'd probably be looking to get Marquise Brown in there, maybe a little bit.
I would try.
Najee.
If James Conner's playing, I would play James Conner.
Yeah, Cooper's in a bad spot against the Baltimore defense as well.
I would take Addison out, put Cooper up there, and then I would probably put James Conner if he's active, or Marquise Brown personally.
I'll take Rose back this week.
Let's make Fender, or let's make Chris have to agonize over these options.
Yeah.
For Finder's team, you guys just go right back. Yeah, go right back to Debo coming off his injury, or do you put Hunt in there? I guess.
If they say Debo's good to go, I'm rolling with Debo.
Yeah.
All right, who wins this one?
Burrow, Fender.
Yeah, I would say that as well.
I'll say Chris.
No chance.
My sixth place team against BJV's ninth. I have two guys going. Foreman is doing well. DJ Moore is meh. Would
Foreman.
you guys don't know that there's much option. Would you guys play Kyle Pitts over Ferguson for my team?
No.
No, either would I. I assume you put Bijan in for Higgins for BJB.
Yeah.
Don't know why he's on the team.
Yeah, BJV's falling apart. So yeah, I'd go with Grossman.
He can drop Cam Akers.
Yeah, probably about time. And probably Darren Waller. But
probably Darren Waller. I just dropped him in one of my other leagues.
Yep. Who wins this one?
I got Grossman.
It's gross, but yeah, Grossman.
I mean, he's it's only a projection, but he's projected right around the same points, and that's with Higgins in there once he puts Bijan. I'll say BJB. Reverse curse. Last one, Walter, 7th place team against Jeff's 10th place team. Guys, like you guys mentioned, has been scoring a lot of points, but you guys put him
tied for ninth, Grossman.
Would you guys put him in for London?
No.
Okay.
Tough matchup, Cleveland.
Yep.
London's got a good matchup this week, for sure.
Landon, for Jeff's team, would you play Garrett Wilson or Godwin?
It's a good one.
Yeah, I'd probably go Garrett Wilson on that one, personally, but that's just me.
Godwin will stay in there. The question really is Madison or Wilson, in my opinion. I mean, even maybe Laporta, but that's where I lean, is the Madison over Wilson. But Godwin's going to stay in there against the Tennessee defense.
God, you had nobody on bye this week?
And my team's not that good. All the good teams are on bye.
Who wins this one?
I'm going to say Geoff makes it a hat trick 3 in a row.
Yeah, so do I.
That. I love the sound of that, boys, but I got to go Dan's All-Stars.
Nice. All right, we are done. Guys, anything before we bid the crowd good night?
Stay strong. You guys are doing great. And make me a trade offer for, I don't know, give me Rachaad White back, Geoff, or maybe.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. Who's your top quarterback?
Jalen Hurts? That's not happening. All right, boys.
We will say goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Later, fellas.
See you, boys.